Thank you for joining us on this edition of the show. Modern transportation is largely tech-driven, and complex cities like Lagos will have no choice but to rely on a great deal of tech to make transportation and commuting in the city better. My guest is a startup in that sector, and it joins me to shed more light on what we should be doing. We've got more lined up for you on the show, but first, some news and updates. This is Tech Trends. I'm Chukwemeka Agbata.
When we talk about smart transportation, it is more than moving cargo from A to B. Digitization within transport and logistics means seamless service to customers, visibility in the supply chain, and driving a more efficient business.
At this education technology startup, SabiTeach, the aim is to help learners locate qualified tutors in their neighborhood.
All right, let's take word problems. And you need to know that word problem can come in any form.
To bridge the educational gap in the country, they are assisting children find the right teachers that can help them through tight spots in school, removing the barriers of location and accessibility. The demand for quality teachers keeps rising, with statistics from the United Nations Education, Science and Cultural Organization UNESCO revealing that close to 69 million new teachers are needed to provide quality universal primary and secondary education by 2030, the deadline of the UN Sustainable Development Goals. According to data from the UNESCO Institute for Statistics, Sub-Saharan Africa has the largest teacher gap, and the region will need about 17 million primary and secondary teachers by 2030. But even though the National Policy on Education stipulates that the teacher-pupil ratio should be 1 to 40, the ratio is however exceeded in most schools, especially in urban areas.
In Africa, there are lots of problems, from the demand for quality teachers to the overwhelming class population of students. Right now, the required is 1:20 from the UN, but right now in Nigeria we have an average of 1 to 60 students in class, and that is really affecting how the educational quality of education among students. Another problem that we're trying to solve is the exam success rate. From 10 years from now, you discover that there is a huge decline in success rate from about 40% to 20%. Another thing, that huge problem is cost of education and also the barrier of location.
The startup, founded in 2019, was already developing a solution that no one thought would be relevant in the pre-COVID world. But when the pandemic hit, the tide changed.
As of 2019, we already had the foresight as an organization that the next phase of education in Africa is going to be online. And then we started developing the SabiTeach idea. That was middle of 2019. And all of a sudden, the pandemic came in, and it looks as if we had a solution ready for the pandemic that happened, and that fast-tracked how we quickly built SabiTeach to be able to solve this problem. We had some setback because when we were developing the idea as at 2019, we didn't have enough resources to finish up what we're building, and then sometimes 2020 we finalized, and it wasn't too late, but we wish we had finished up our solution before then.
By creating a tutoring marketplace, the startup, through its database, provides tutors that can be accessed using a learning style algorithm. Navigating the platform is made easy for each learner, and the tutors create a well-mapped out learning plan for their routines.
To bridge the gap of finding a quality or a qualified teacher, it is a marketplace for live online learning. Students can go on SabiTeach to search for a preferred teacher, and then check if the teacher is available. If the teacher is, you check the review from previous users, and then you hire the teacher. You schedule class with the teacher on SabiTeach, and then you take classes on SabiTeach also, because what we have done is that we have incorporated an online classroom into our system built by our team, and then classes go on directly on SabiTeach.
Funding is always a big issue for startups in Africa, but for this EdTech startup bootstrapping, there were more worries.
Funding is always an issue, especially in this part of the world. But the way we think is that we believe that funding is not the first thing. Funding comes when you are able to solve real life solutions. We had to do a lot of sourcing for talents that can help build our solution, SabiTeach, and then we leveraged on friends, we leveraged on our network to be able to deliver this. And we're still bootstrapping to see that we crack the code of education in Nigeria now, and we believe that if we had the funds on ground at that time, we would have gained a whole lot of more traction because the solution was a good fit.
The startup, in its quest to bridge the education gap, is also helping learners fund trainings, regardless of their financial capacity, to accelerate their educational growth.
Nigerian artist Abdulrahman Yusuf used to sell his work online, but in May, he was introduced to non-fungible tokens NFTs, which he said presented life-changing opportunities and has since increased the number of pieces he can sell at higher prices. NFTs are a type of digital asset which use blockchain to record the ownership of items such as images, videos, and other collectibles. African artists like Yusuf are using NFTs where the buyer has the status of being the official owner of goods sold. Yusuf, who lives in Nigeria's commercial capital, Lagos, said he had sold 44 digital works of various NFT platforms since joining in May.
People don't look at art like this before in Nigeria. People really do not care about art. But as they've seen how, in the Western world, how it can be an investment, it's not just to display in your house. Sometimes it's a way to save money. It's a way to, like a heirloom for your children. Something you can sell later.
The growing influence of NFTs took center stage at the 4-day annual ArtX Lagos, West Africa's premier international art fair. Yusuf, whose work is partly inspired by pop culture and fashion, sold one piece at the fair but did not reveal the price. His most expensive piece before the fair cost 2.2 Ethereum.
NFTs are now bringing in a formidable opportunity for these artists to commercialize their work. They're able to secure their work on the blockchain. They're able to attach smart contracts to their work, which govern the ways in which the works are sold and resold.
While the lamplight beamed on NFT works, guests at the fair appreciated traditional works of various galleries and artists present.
I think people still want to be able to come here and see things like this, and generally the way I've heard people talk about NFT, they want to have it as an asset rather than something they want to be seeing.
For Yusuf, who also prints and sells his digital works, NFT is a rewarding opportunity for every artist.
A roof of solar panels shades Pierre Escudi as he inspects the last plum grapes to be harvested at his vineyard in southwest France. The solar panels insulate the grapes during periods of extreme cold and shields them from the sun's harsh rays during heat waves. The panels also rotate to allow more light to hit the vines on more overcast days.
We will need solutions if we want to keep our local grape varieties.
The rotating solar panel technology might just be the future.
We'll need to do something because we're moving from a Mediterranean climate to a semi-arid climate. 30 years ago, we thought 32 degrees Celsius was an extreme temperature, when today it's 38 or even 40.
Agrivoltaics are a fast-developing technology that places solar panels over fields and vineyards to get double use out of the land by producing power during periods of heavy sunlight while still allowing crops to grow. Several companies in Europe are developing similar solar tech to cover a variety of crops, from wheat fields to fruit orchards. The panels also help insulate the ground beneath by around 2 degrees Celsius, protecting crops and vines from the kind of late frosts that ravaged wine production throughout France in the spring. In a mutually beneficial arrangement, an independent power company uses SQD's land to install solar panels to produce power, which is fed into the grid and generates enough energy to power about 650 homes in the area. SQD in turn benefits from the crop protection from having the panels on his land. Cartier says priority in the setup is given to crop quality over power production, meaning some 15 to 20% of potential energy supply is lost over the course of a year. Sun Agri's technology possesses weather data and determines when to shade the crops and when to rotate the panels and give the crops sunlight. The company aims to have its technology in use on around 40 small agriculture sites of between 2 and 4 hectares in the south of France, the Rhone Valley, and around the Mediterranean over 2022 and 2023. Three tips to secure your online accounts. As platform owners create newer ways to better secure online accounts, so are hackers working hard to bypass such new efforts, and this creates an endless circle. However, all users of such online accounts have a role to play in ensuring that their accounts are safe while using those platforms. These tips will help you better to stay safe online. Add a mobile number to your accounts. Passwords alone are not exactly safe because there are a number of not too difficult ways to grab the passwords from millions of users almost at the same time. This is the reason most online platforms allow you to add your mobile number, which is designed to serve as a second layer of security in case your account gets hijacked or you lose your password for whatever reason. Suspicious apps and websites. Start by visiting your settings in order to review the apps and websites that have access to your account. You can revoke the access of an app that you find suspicious or of an app that you don't use. Remember, always stay clear of anything that looks remotely suspicious on internet. This includes certain applications on the official app stores and any other third-party app sites. Add pop-ups, spam and phishing mails. Do not click on anything you are unsure of the source. Regular change of passwords. It is important to change your passwords every 3 months or so. This is applicable to all your online accounts and it is for your own safety. Note, no password is 100% foolproof. It is possible to use a password that will make it a little harder for hackers to gain access to your online accounts.
Coming up is my chat with Oluwatobi Fakayode, founder of Boss. Stay with us.
Commuting in a busy and crowded city like Lagos could sometimes be overwhelming amidst traffic jams and other characteristics the megacity is known for. With over 20 million people living in the state, a large percentage of the population rely on public transport for their mobility and spend several productive hours in traffic. But now, there are new technologies reshaping the way we move while also improving the efficiency of transport systems. Innovative transportation technologies such as autonomous vehicles and electric bicycles are helping people conveniently get to their destination faster and with less resources. Oluwatobi Fakayode, founder of BusBus, discusses how we can leverage technology to improve the transport system in the country.
Oluwatobi, welcome to Tech Trends.
Hi, welcome. How are you doing?
Awesome. You are in the transport sector, so start by sharing with us what are some of the challenges that sector is experiencing today.
Let me just talk about problems that face transportation generally in Nigeria, and with special reference to Lagos. I think one of our biggest transportation problems in Lagos is traffic. Traffic is very, it's experienced almost all over the world, but it's a very big issue. You look at effectiveness and work efficiency, especially for businessmen, SMEs, people who have to move from one place to another. In Lagos, for example, you realize that you can hardly do more than 2-3 things, visit more than 2-3 places in a day because of traffic. Especially when you have to do things at what we call peak periods, work hours, So congestion is heavy, and the reason why there's this traffic congestion and not just Lagos or urban areas generally is because of rapid urbanization. Rapid urbanization because everybody wants to move to the urban areas because they believe there are more opportunities in the urban areas. For example, if you remember our Nollywood movies, most of the people living in the village, where are they going? They're going to Lagos. And if you look at the statistics say over 500,000 people are, relocating to Lagos every year. And unfortunately, the roads are not expanding. The road remains the same, So this is a very huge challenge. And the working class in Lagos is heavily stuck on their vehicles. And this is a very big problem. Another problem that we're facing here is road and road maintenance, improper planning. Most of these roads were not planned properly. They didn't envisage the amount of population explosion that we're seeing in urban areas today, and that's been a big problem.
So the question now is, how can technology help? What's the way forward with technology?
Yeah, technology has always, over the years, been the platform with which life is made better, easier, and more convenient for people all over the world, and in any sector. So technology has always been a tool to make life easier, both for the operators who are, in the transport sector and the commuters who are moving from one place to another. Like I was telling some people recently, I said, we just have to find a way to get cars off the road, especially because the roads cannot expand at the rates at which population is exploding. And the statistics that also says almost 70% of the cars in Nigeria, not in the Southwest, in Nigeria and in Lagos State, and this is a huge challenge. So I think one of the first things we have to do is find creative and innovative ways of getting cars off the road. And which is why we have brought up our charter services product and our car sharing product. That way, people who are going the same direction are able to join each other, like-minded people are able to join each other, and they're able to drop their cars in the house. The lesser cars on the road, the more convenient the road will be, the less traffic we'll have on the road. And this is the idea with the technology that we are presenting that is making life easier. For example, what our charter services does is to ensure that, you have a car and a driver available for you for the whole day. You don't have to take your car out. And if you're in a situation where you normally take all the other ride-hailing platforms, for example, you don't experience things like surge, you don't experience things like you're waiting, you order a ride, you have to wait, the driver cancels on you, you don't know what the price is going to be. In this case, you have one driver to yourself for the whole day. And when you have multiple things to do or multiple people, going in the same place, you also then are able to use that vehicle and carry people along and share with people. Because you are sharing with people, cars are reduced on the road.
But then also, there's still also the challenge of the fact that there are not enough roads, right?
There are not enough what?
There are not enough roads compared to the cars, right? So the question is, in a city like Lagos, what needs to happen? Does government need to work with some sort of data or
yes. So so there are so many things that have to happen. First of all, we have to go back to the drawing board. The planning did not envisage the extent of rapid urbanization that is happening in Lagos today, and the government has to go back to the drawing board to do proper master planning, and that is, look at what was done in Lekki-Epe. When Lekki-Epe Expressway was created, they didn't envisage many of these things. But you see, they had to go back to the drawing board and expand some of the roads. So this is inevitable, or else we are going in for a deadlock. The second thing that we need to do is to create alternative routes for vehicles to pass, such that once there are 2-3 different alternatives, then people can move from one place to another easily, and one particular road or route will not be too congested. The third thing we have to do is to create alternative means of transportation, which is already existing. Unfortunately, projects like the Blue Line, the train projects in Lagos have been here for probably more than a decade, sometimes 15 years. And that's the problem of waiting for government to solve some of our critical problems. We have to look creatively, and government has to be serious about this thing. Truth of the matter is that I've always said everywhere I go that transportation is a matter of national security. Transportation is directly proportional. Effective transportation and the level of transportation is directly proportional to the level of economic development and economic growth of any region, of any country, anywhere in the world. Look at it. Look at China. Look at Singapore. Look at Malaysia. Look at even the United States. You will see that states that have very easy, connected, well-planned transportation systems, because people have to move from one place to another. In order for people to be effective, goods have to move from one place to another. Food has to move from one place to another. And government cannot avoid this. And one of the major problems we face is because road transportation is about 96% of the transportation channels that we have. So this is a problem in and of itself. Government has to, as a matter of urgency, invest in other forms of transportation. For example, Lagos and many other coastal areas have wonderful water channels. We have coastal roads, we have the coast itself, and then we have inland waterways. Inland waterways are very essential in moving goods from one place to another, and even moving people by road from one place to another. Imagine there are Papa ports. Imagine there was a strategic linkage between the ports and inland waterways. We'll be able to move goods freely through all the inland waterway channels that we have in Nigeria. And this is going to effectively reduce the amount of traffic and congestion that is happening in Apapa.
So this is to my final question for you. Where do you see your startup in 5 years? What are the plans?
I am particularly amazed at the kind of progress we have made in very little time. Right now, we are having people call us from Ghana, from Liberia, from Johannesburg, from Nairobi, from all over Africa. And I can see that our expansion is going to be very fast. I would not want to put a number to it, but we're expanding to a couple of African countries by 2022. We are the first transport aggregator doing that in Nigeria, and if I may make bold to say, maybe even all over the world, and we take this responsibility very seriously, and we see ourselves in 5 years, we see ourselves as the leader of the marketplace.
All right. Okay, Oluwatobi, thank you for being on the show today. We wish you all the very best as you build. Thank you.
Thank you, CFA. God bless you. Have a good one.
I've been chatting with Oluwatobi Fakayo, the founder, Boss. The government needs to encourage more innovative ideas in the sector, and we certainly must find ways to leverage technology and improve transportation. Otherwise, traffic experiences in cities like Lagos would only get worse. Let's hope not. That's it for our show today. You can watch these and previous editions of the show on Channels TV, YouTube, or cfablog.ng. For Tech Trends, I'm Chukwemeka Agbata.